Welcome back, guys. I'm joined by who am I joined by?
I'm Owen McElfatrick, infielder at Northwestern University.
Yeah, so Owen, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and class schedule, school schedule, because sadly you're still in school near the end of May. But yeah, so like I was telling you before we started, I always start with questions from my mother. So I try and give her and a little bit of limelight with podcasts and stuff. So I'll play the first clip or her first question, and then we'll play the next one.
Sweet.
Pressure, and how do you motivate yourself to play your best in the face of adversity?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I think I've always faced adversity throughout my career. Um, so for me, it's kind of just like a normal thing. Like I get up and show up to the field, show up to workouts, like with that in mind. I just I want to prove myself right and others wrong, and just go out and play hard every day.
Yeah, definitely. And then the next one isn't as serious of a question. She does this with every. This is like a kind of like go-to question for every guest that I've had so far.
Sweet.
What is your favorite homemade meal to eat when you're at home?
Wow. That's a good one. I gotta think here for a second. Um, ooh. Oh, my mom makes this like beef stroganoff with some like egg noodles.
hmm
Usually when I come home, like whether it's like Thanksgiving, Christmas time, if I'm home, look like sometimes in the summer she'll make that for me. She makes a
hmm
really big deal out of it, so that's kind of my favorite thing that she makes. She also makes this pretty good like Cajun shrimp and rice. That's pretty good. We had that this weekend, so.
hmm
Yeah, she's a pretty good cook, so I'm pretty
hmm
lucky.
Yeah, definitely. So now we'll kind of go with my questions
Sweet.
for this podcast. So I'll start off. What made you want to commit to Northwestern? You're from Tampa, you're from Florida, so that's kind of a far, commute. So what from Northwestern stood out to you?
Yeah, I get this question a lot actually, especially like umpires and people on other teams like asking how I ended up here. But a lot of it was the education. My parents went to grad school in the Big Ten. My dad did law school at Indiana. My mom went to dental school in Michigan. So I kind of grew up like in a Big Ten household. Was always told that Northwestern was a great school. I came out here a couple times just to look at campus, and I went to like a camp. Had a friend who came here actually from my high school. So I kind of just like fell in love with the campus, the coaching staff at the time. The facilities are unbelievable here. And then you can't beat a top 10 education. So
hmm
for me, it was a lot of that, and then also just like the belief they had in me, and um, the kind of idea that I would come in and play early, like as a freshman, and it all worked out perfectly. So those are kind of the big things for me, and I'm glad I made this decision.
Definitely. And we'll talk about later kind of what playing early in your career has done kind of now that you had a lot more success, whereas you started a little rougher. But I think that's better to start as your freshman year than struggling when you're first playing in your junior, senior, whatever year. So,
Yeah.
um, who were your biggest influences growing up, either in baseball or in any sports or outside of it?
Yeah, I would say my parents first and foremost, just because they worked my entire life, put me through private school. My two brothers, the same thing. Drove me all across. Like if you know Florida, like you're playing in like Fort Myers, you're playing in Miami, you're playing in Orlando, and it's like every weekend is a trip. So just having them like wake up every morning, take me to school, pay for school, and then on top of that, waking up early on like a Saturday morning, driving me down 3 hours to a tournament, and then staying the night and kind of giving up their entire lives for me. So um, they kind of motivated me to always do my best and work hard and stay disciplined. And then on the baseball side, we're like family friends with the McCullers family. I don't know if you're familiar with Lance McCullers Jr.
Yep.
But I like did like pitching lessons with him when I was young. Got to go out to the World Series in 17. Um, it was kind of cool just to see like someone living the big league life and like how it just takes so much work. Like you're in the weight room all the time. You're watching what you're eating. You're working on your craft nonstop. So he was definitely a big influence baseball wise, and just seeing how he's just like a normal guy too. Like he would text me, call me, make sure I was doing well, and um, it was kind of just cool to have someone like that as a role model growing up
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I did a podcast with Noble Meyer, I
Yeah.
think last week, and just the amount of work like that he was telling me that he puts in, like, and I'm gonna do a podcast later with Jack Bauer, I think, but like I watched, I don't know if you know who Disarm is, I would assume you do.
Yeah.
Um, and just the amount of like pre-game work that it showed that Jack Bauer does is like unworld. Like you don't, and he's a high schooler,
Yeah.
and I can only imagine what that's like at the college level. But no, yeah, and like Lance McCullers also just had a, I think 12, 13 strikeout game the other day.
Yeah, that
So,
was pretty cool to see.
uh-huh. It's good to see that he's back, even though, in the playoffs he kind of messed up my White Sox in
I
2021. But
remember that.
uh, so I talked a little bit before how you kind of had a little bit of freshman year struggles. You hit 190, and now your junior year, you're one of the best hitters in not only on your team but in the conference, which is arguably, we'll talk about that later. I have a question about Big Ten baseball later, but arguably one of the best conferences in the country. You hit 190 your freshman year, and now this season you hit 303. So what do you attribute to that sort of huge jump in the span of only really 2 years?
Yeah, I think it's just tough to come in as a freshman and really like succeed. Like, I have a lot of respect for the people that go out and become freshman All-Americans and all SEC, all Big Ten as freshmen because it's hard. Like even playing in Florida as like a high schooler, like you face good competition, but like seeing it like game after game after game, like you don't really have a free at bat at all. I would say a lot of the credit for my success the past 2 years especially was just like putting my head down and going to work. I obviously wasn't pleased with my freshman year. I didn't really have the resources I thought I needed to have success when I was reflecting on that year. But yeah, looking back on it, like I worked incredibly hard, especially like my last winter, going into my sophomore year, and ended up having a pretty good year, 11 homers.
Hmm.
And then even from there, I was like, you know what, like I'm really not like satisfied with any of that. So a lot of it was just like watching old videos, seeing what I could clean up, getting into a really good routine, like whether it's like before I hop into BP or machine work, just like narrowing down what I need to do to feel like swing cues and doing that every single day to where it's just like it just feels like repetition at that point. So I would say that I kind of just focus on what I needed to focus on, not really listening to what other people were doing, kind of just knowing that, okay, if I do this every day, like I'm gonna put myself in a good position to succeed on the field.
Definitely, yeah, and, it's interesting to see now, like, I talk about just with my buddies too, like, baseball has become such a you can hit 200, barely 200, but you can hit 40 home runs and you're a big leaguer for however many years. With you, it's kind of been the opposite where you've been a great average guy and you've had, 9, I think you had 9 last this season, if I'm
Yeah.
correct. So,
Yeah.
like, you haven't been a huge home run guy, and that's not an issue. We see guys like one of my favorite players to watch, Luis Arias. The dude has, I think, 5 strikeouts and is on pace for like, it's just unworldly. So, like, I think that's a cool thing too, whereas, like, now in baseball, especially in college, like that guy from Oregon, I'm blanking on his name, but the dude who led the country in home runs, Charlie Condon last year, like, just
Yeah.
it's become such a just home run based sport, which is not a bad thing. The
Mhm.
steroid era in MLB, I could argue. I mean, I wasn't really alive, but it was, I
Yeah.
think, just looking back, was one of the best eras of sports. Just how it was the home run chase every year. And now it's just like, all right, who's hitting 60 this year? So I think that's a really cool thing as well.
Yeah.
Um, what has Northwestern done for your baseball career?
Whew. I would say a lot. Like I wasn't really recruited a whole lot in high school. No one really thought I could hit at the college level. So, I mean, I just had a meeting with my coaches and kind of just thanked them for everything they've done. Like if that was the last time, I'm with them. But yeah, they've done a lot. Just like the investment, like in player development, like in me as a person, like they care about my well-being. They care about what I need to do to succeed. So it's like if I come in and I need to have a set of eyes on me and watch something or get an opinion on something, like if I'm on time, if I'm late, like it's just been unbelievable. And like so there are days where I go in and like um they're just all over me like you need to do this, you need to do this. And like in the moment, like as a player, you're like, ah. But looking back on it, like it just gets you so much better. And like I'm so appreciative for the people that have been here in this place that they've just done so much for me. So
Mhm. Yeah, no, you actually made a great this is a great segue to my next question. You talked about how people said that you didn't think you were gonna be a great hitter in college, and now you're, being selected to the all 3rd Big Ten team. So what is that like? Yeah, what was that feeling like?
no, it felt good for sure. Like I remember I kind of last year thought I was gonna make it, but there were a ton of good second basemen last year, and I kind of just missed it, I thought. And so we're like going to UCLA, and I'm like, you know what, I'm probably not gonna make it again, so I'll just go out and have fun for my last week. And um, pulled up to the facility to grab lunch, and I got the Twitter notification. It was cool for me, just like because I wasn't really worried about it all year. Like I kind of struggled in the beginning of the year trying to do too much, and um, just ended up kind of where I wanted, and saw that, and I was like, you know, that it feels good, especially from where I started. Like you never would imagine that your career could kind of turn around like that. But credit to the people around me and the hard work. Like it just felt amazing.
Mhm. Yeah, and then, you guys actually went to beat UCLA too, which
Yeah,
is pretty cool. So,
that's sweet.
who's one of the best teams in the country this year. How do you mentally prepare before a big game? We just talked about that UCLA game or any other big games that you had this year, but how do you mentally prepare going into like I'm an Illinois fan. How do you
Yeah.
prepare for that Illinois rivalry game?
Yeah, I think it starts just with practice that week, like especially like a rivalry week like at Illinois, like when you come in on Tuesday, probably playing midweek, and then Wednesday it's like, all right, like your goal is to win that game on Friday. So do everything you can as a team, like get everything in check, get your swing in check, get team stuff in check. Get a good lift in, like a lot of loud talk in the weight room, like all that stuff. Like you're just very hyper focused during the week, and then just staying on top of like recovery and stuff, and then just take care of those 2 days. Show up on Friday. I really don't like to think about baseball much, like on game days. I think it's like a good way to take your mind off things. Like you can stress about how you're gonna play, how your team's gonna do. But I try to just put on like chill music, just hang out. Like when we're on the road, I'm watching like TV just all day before the games, like Friends, some movie that's on, walking around with my guys, and um, then when you show up, just kind of go through BP, tune in everything you need to, and then from there, just one pitch at a time, and have fun with everything. Just because it's all a mental game, like you need to just relax a lot of the time. So
Exactly. Yeah, baseball is I don't remember who said this, 90% mental, 10% physical. I
no,
mean,
it's true.
I think I've said this like with all the baseball guys that I have, but like being successful in baseball, if you're getting on base 3 out of 10 times, you're a good player. You're an all-star. Which if you tell someone you got 3 out of 10 on a test, you failed miserably.
Yeah.
So that's what I love about baseball is like you can like in people's eyes suck, but you don't. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I just think it's a really, really interesting thing. Um, what does a typical day of training or preparation look like for you?
Yeah. A lot of it like depends on the school schedule. Just being here with um, that's such a good school. It's kind of hard to do a lot of stuff other guys are doing, but typically like if we're in season, it'll just be show up, get any treatment I need, get some swings in before practice, and then go through practice and stuff. Those are usually about like 3, 4 hours. And then if we have a lift, I'll usually like not hit after that just to like especially in season, you don't want to work too much on the mechanical side. You don't want to get too far in your head. But I think like a winter day for me is like I'll go hit for maybe 2 hours, just really doing a lot of drill work, like not as much focused on like seeing velo or anything, just getting my swing in check. And then from there I'll usually go work out. I have a great trainer back home. A lot of my friends go as well, so we'll go do that. So it's about like 4 hours a day, then come home and try and stretch, like take your mind off of everything, and recover as best as you can just so you're in a good spot for the next day. So, and it doesn't seem like much to me anymore just because I've been doing it for so many years. But when you like talk about it, you're like, oh, that's a lot. Like you're 4 hours a day, you're moving around, like you're tired, you're sore, you're hurting. But yeah, those are kind of the typical days for me, especially in the
It's
off season.
it's exactly when you said 4 hours, I'm like, that's like almost my whole work shift later, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I completely get it. And a thing that I relate to college is like if you're playing in college, like you have to love what you're doing because that's when it starts to become like a job where it's like, especially, I mean, now with NIL, technically it kind of is a job.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you got to really love what you're doing because that's your whole life. You know, you have however many classes you're taking and then the work, but then other than that, it's in that free time, you're basically, from what I've heard from all my that college athletes that I've interviewed, it's like it's work, it's schoolwork, and then whatever sport, basketball, track, baseball, like that's just your whole life, which is you got to really love what you're doing, or else you're doing the wrong thing.
Definitely.
Um, so you talked about how you struggled a little bit early on in the regular season. How do you bounce back from a tough game or tough performance?
Yeah, I think this is something I kind of figured out this year actually. I was talking to my one of my assistant coaches yesterday, and I think I was 1 for 20 to start the year. Like I went 1 for 12 week one, and then um, started off really rough the next weekend. But it was a lot of like loud contact where like you can't really do anything about it. And I think for me, like in the past, I would have been like losing my mind, like, all right, I gotta go hit, I gotta go hit, I gotta go hit. And I remember the one at bat, like where everything kind of changed. It was I lined out to center field against Harvard. I think it was like 108 off the bat, and I just started laughing as I like ran around the bases. And I was like, you know what, like eventually it's gonna fall. Like I'm gonna have some blue pit, and everything's gonna fix itself. And um, kind of from there, I was just like so like easygoing and not really thinking about the results part of it. Like if I'm lining out and my swing feels good, I can't do anything about the results. So um, started taking like Mondays to just no baseball and take my mind off it, and it really helped me a lot because I'm like if I'm worrying about my success and all that all the time, it's never gonna turn around. So, yeah, I think it's crucial to just be a human. Don't worry too much about it. Like, everything's gonna take care of itself.
Yeah, totally. I think that's sometimes some people like get too into their sport and make that like their whole existence and being and like every athlete who like people are getting sad now, like I've seen a lot of NBA stuff on Instagram and stuff where it's like the people that we grew up with are now starting to retire and stuff, and it's like
Mhm.
it's just a game. Like
Yeah,
that's what my dad would always tell me when I was playing baseball and stuff. It's like it's such a like yeah, you want to be good, you want to be successful at it, but in the end of the day, you're gonna have baseball for, if I'm lucky, and I was, 18 years of my life, and for you, however long it goes for you, but like it's only going to be in your you can be a part of it with like watching, comment, whatever, but
mhm.
you're only going to be able to play for so long. So it's like you need to find other stuff to do, and I think that's kind of interesting because most players in that slump would be like you want to overwork yourself in the sense of
Yeah.
like and then you start to go crazy and then that's just not fun.
No,
Um
yeah, definitely.
So, who's the toughest opponent you faced and what made them so tough? You're in the Big Ten, which is, like I said, one of the best conferences ever. I mean, I'm a Big Ten guy. I told you I'm an Illinois fan. So, who do you think your toughest opponent is and why?
We faced Obermueller this year and Giroua at Michigan State. I think those guys were both tough in their own ways. Like Obermueller was like I think against us he was like 95, 97, with a wipeout slider. So for him it was tough just because you had to be ready for 97 with like life, and then it was like okay, like if you're too set on that, then he's gonna spin one off in your toast. So um, he was just like unbelievable. Like hit his arm really well, got really far down the mound. And then Jirwa had good stuff. He just like he was kind of all over the zone. Like any pitch and any count. So I remember I think I had three at bats against him. First one was like 12 pitches, and it was like I was seeing something different every pitch. So it's like you saw like the really good pitchability side of a guy who's got good stuff, and then you saw a guy that's just got incredible stuff. Um, those two guys I would say were really good opponents for me to face. So
Yeah, definitely. I think especially now with like all the metrics behind stuff, it's even more like it's hard. I think it's hard just to like see a metric. Like I faced a guy in high school who had a slider like that was around 3,000, 2,000 RPMs, and he was committed to Belmont.
yeah,
Um, and you know that going into the at bat, which I think sometimes I know with you now, like technology in baseball is such a it's so advanced, especially in college, so, like, where it's normal, but for me, a high schooler who hasn't really ever seen something like that, you go in there and you're thinking, "If he throws this pitch, I'm just trying not to get sorted."
yeah,
Which, I didn't. I grounded out. I hit it, but I grounded out, so I'm happy with that. But yeah, definitely, like, this when you talk about wipeout sliders, there's so many people now where, like, the common is, especially with some high school and college kids,
yeah,
3,000 RPMs, which is like for people who don't understand baseball, it's like unfair to have something like that disgusting with that much vertical
yeah,
movement or horizontal movement, sorry. And I told you I was gonna ask about this. What do you think, that now that there's only four really power four conferences, but we've seen a lot of mid-major conferences that are really good, like the American with Eastern
mhm,
Carolina, the um, I'm blanking on them, but the Valley, I mean, Bradley, I'm a Bradley student. The Valley is really good. So,
mhm,
how good do you think the Big Ten for baseball is? And it's one of the the conferences that, when you think of Big Ten, you think football, you think
yeah,
like the hard wrestling, you think like the hard physical sports. So, what do you
yeah,
think Big Ten baseball is in the eyes of the country? Obviously the SEC is it's 13. I mean, all I have to say is 13 teams in the NCAA tournament this year, and
yeah.
but where do you think the Big Ten definitely ranks with all these conferences and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I've played with guys from all over. Like I'm obviously from Florida, so a lot of guys I grew up playing with are all playing in the SEC. So, I mean, those guys are great. I will never say a negative thing about any of them. I think just the consistency of how good those guys are makes that league so good. And then as far as like the Big 12 ACC, like I really don't think there's a crazy difference. Like obviously you're gonna have your few teams that are really good. Like you've got Florida State. Like I played,
Clemson, yes.
I played against Jamie Arnold a lot growing up. Like he's incredible. But I don't think people give the Big Ten as much respect as it should get. Partially just because it's so cold. Like now you talked about like the home run aspect of it. Like there aren't really a ton of guys in the Midwest hitting 25 homers just because it's cold, it's hard to hit. Like there's no secret to that. Like you'd rather go hit 95 degrees than 45 degrees. So
Mhm.
I think it just has a different perception just based on that. Like it's kind of a different game. Like you're really playing like hard-nosed team baseball, like kind of like the football aspect of the
Mhm.
conference. And I think people just don't really pay a whole lot of attention to it. Like you're still gonna see great guys. Like there are great hitters. There are plenty of guys in the major league systems and in the big leagues. And I think it probably deserves a little bit more credit. And I think that'll come with schools like Oregon and UCLA
Yeah,
and like you saw like Washington struggled at times in the Big Ten too. Like they're a good team. But yeah, I think it's a good conference. Like we went out and beat UCLA on Thursday night, so it just shows that anyone can win on any day. And but yeah, I don't really think there's a whole lot of difference between some of the conferences.
exactly. I think you make a great point too, where it's like that's what I love about college baseball is any team can beat anyone on any given day.
Mhm.
And like I love college football, and the thing with college football is if Ohio State's playing Marshall, you know who's going to win that game.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing why I love college basketball. I love college baseball is because anyone can win on any given day, and that's what makes it so interesting. And that's I think what the Big Ten has now, especially you talked about. I mean, you brought up a great point with now the new teams, like the teams on the West Coast.
Mhm.
They have brought a new respect, especially Oregon. I
Yeah.
mean, I went to go see them. They played Minnesota. It was really early on in the year, and
Mm,
just like I mean, there were it was raining the whole game, and the amount of fans that were just there on the concourse and like under the roof area of the stands was crazy.
yeah.
Just to show and like Oregon is relatively similar here, and the only reason why people are like, "Oh, it doesn't matter," is because it's the West Coast, so everything is
Yeah.
warmer there. But trust me, I've been to Eugene. It's very similar weather here. It's just a lot more depressing and rainy.
Yeah,
Um,
no, definitely.
so where is the your favorite place that you have played at? You know, it can be your high school career or college career, or I know I saw you've played in some summer leagues too. So where's
Yeah.
your favorite place you played?
Yeah, it's a tough question just because I've played 3 years here and then 2 summer years. So, I played in Alaska in the summer. There wasn't really a ton that was too cool out there. It's all just, it is what it is out there. But we went to Louisiana Tech my freshman year. That was really cool environment on Friday night. We had them close on Saturday and it was pretty loud. They walked us off. That was awesome. I think trying to think about last year. I don't know if there was anywhere last year that was super cool. I played in the Northwoods last summer, and Madison Mallards have a pretty sweet setup. They get a ton of fans there. And then this year, I would say I loved Maryland. Just like I love the field, like it's a sweet setup. Um, and then Nebraska, like you can't really beat. Like you're playing in a old minor league stadium. I think they play indie ball there now. They had, I think, 5,000 our Friday night game, and like they're loud, and like we went in there and won. It was awesome. We had like 7 homers. But yeah, those two this year were really cool, and then I loved La Tech freshman year. That was sweet.
Yeah, definitely, and I think, like, that's the thing is, like I'm not trying to diss on I grew up a Midwest kid, so I know,
Yeah,
like, the baseball complexes around here, but, like, baseball in the where you're from down south in that area is just, like, you can't beat it. The weather is
yeah,
you're basically playing all year round, people here, it's a lot more of football, basketball, whereas down south, it's a lot more of baseball because the weather is, cooperating with you guys,
yeah,
um, but what is one part of your game that you've been focusing on that you will be focusing on like this sort of off season that you
yeah.
want to see yourself improve on?
Definitely. I think like defensively, just being like very versatile, like where I can play. I think you open up a lot of opportunities for yourself when you can defend at a high level. And I saw that a lot this year. Just like I've moved positions every year just based on the fit of the team. And moving over to third and having probably my best defensive year yet, like it just shows that like people notice it, like it helps you win games. Like I think continuing to work on like the fundamentals of that and getting reps at short, getting reps at second to where like if someone were to go down, like I'm prepared to go play at a high level somewhere else. So, um, and then potentially in pro ball too, like being moved around just to be in the lineup. So,
Mhm,
I think yeah, that's a big thing for me. And then just continuing to work on like the simplicity of my swing this year too. Just being ready for anything, being on time, being in a good spot to hit at all times, no matter what's coming. So, those are kind of the two big things for me.
mhm. Yeah, definitely. I talked with John Gadsdar, he's a infielder for the Peoria Chiefs, and he said by the which they're like the high A affiliate for the Cardinals. Um, and he said by the end of his pro career, he wants to be able to play basically every position. He's very and I think that's a great thing because I'm a White Sox fan. I grew up. Larry Garcia was our utility man from basically 2017 to basically 2023. It gives you it makes you there's a reason why he was on our team that long is
Hmm.
because when you need a plug start, you can always go to rely to this guy. So I think that's a great thing too, is you're trying to go to pro ball and stuff. So I think it makes another just great sort of eye-opening thing for professional and scouts to see too. Um, how do you and your teammates hold each other accountable?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I don't know, like we have a really nice facility here, so we're able to get in like just about everybody. So I think like building up to season, like you kind of see who's there and who's not. So it's really easy to hold guys accountable. Just be like, hey, like we're all in here, like let's all go get in and work at this time. And then like towards the end of the year, it's kind of more like on your own, like what you need to do for your own success. But I think that hasn't really been an issue in my time here, like holding guys accountable, just because everyone wants to play, everyone wants to win. So it's like if there's someone missing, it's kind of like a surprise. So I think there's just like that embedded culture here to where you're just supposed to show up every day and work. So it's really not a whole lot of work here. Like we kind of lay that foundation on day one, and guys follow it to the best of their ability all year round.
Mhm. Yeah, that's awesome, and we're starting to see now just with, like, Northwestern sports, like I said, I'm an Illinois fan. You
Yeah.
guys in basketball are starting to you're starting to see in a lot of their programs just, like, they're starting to kinda trend upwards, whereas a lot of people, you know, in the early, probably 2010s viewed Northwestern as like a, "Oh, it's a really good academic school." It's like, the nerd school, they're really good academically, but they're not great, athletically, and now we're starting to see that turn around in a lot of their sports. So I got 3 more questions for you.
Yep.
What is one lesson from sports that shaped who you are off the field?
Ooh. Um, I think there's like a good one that I like to tell like younger guys, like if they're ever asking for advice, and it's you're never as good as you think you are, and you're never as bad as you think you are. Like you could show up and go 0 for 5 and feel like you're just like at rock bottom, and then the next day go 3 for 3 with a couple homers, and like you feel like you're on top of the world. Like baseball is a great way of like humbling you.
Mhm,
And I think just taking that mindset into like everything in life, where like you're never gonna go in thinking you're better than everybody, and you're never gonna go in thinking you're worse than everybody. Just go in, um, knowing that you have to work hard and continue to develop as a person, just to have success and have valuable relationships in life. Like you can't ever go into anything like half-heartedly. Like I don't know, I really like that one. I heard that one when I was, I want to say, a freshman for the first time, and it really stuck with me. Like it's the same concept for school too. Like you could do really well on a test, but if you don't study for the next one, like you could bomb it. So
mhm,
I think it's just a good saying to carry
mhm.
around with you.
Yeah. So this one is not as serious, and then I got one more one.
Sweet.
What is your favorite Northwestern baseball jersey? I'll pop up a picture. But you guys, I am an Illinois fan, but I will admit you guys do have some nice uniforms. So which one would you say is your go-to? Your if you had to pick, like if you were the starter that night and you were on the mound and you picked the uniform, what would you pick?
Yeah, I think you can't beat our whites. We really don't wear them at all. It kind of annoys me a little bit. Like we barely play at home just because of the weather, and we're always wearing like cream or gothic on a Friday, which those are all nice uniforms, but I don't think you can beat our all whites with the
Mhm,
script across in purple,
mhm.
all white accessories. Like it's a sweet look for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah, definitely. I love the cream is also a good one, but I do agree. I think those white ones are nice. I think it's the script that I really like.
Yeah,
And then also like purple. Purple is just a great. It looks beautiful on white. Like that's
definitely.
why the gothic uniforms I like. I've always but I've not liked them as much as like some of like like the script ones. I love like the script fonts that you guys have. I think your script fonts look really nice. So this is my last question. If your legacy were written on a bathroom stall, what would it say?
Oh, I would just say like wild. Like I've had a crazy experience here. Like I've had 3 sets of coaching staffs, probably 70 teammates. So, and then like a ton of ups and downs, like on the field too, like as a team and individually. So, yeah, it's been far from what I expected, but yeah, that would probably be it.
Mhm. Definitely. Well, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. Especially now with school, it's a lot harder for you guys to make time. So thank you again and being flexible and all that. It means a lot. Guys, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends. It means a lot.
Don't nobody go in the bathroom for about 35, 45 minutes. Somebody open the window.